But I have been financially not doing great. I am a nurse. Even though I am a nurse and I make good money, I don't have money, which is the sad part because of the choices that I've made still currently and the choices that I've made like previously, like from a couple of years. I am in credit card debt, and it's this unhealthy cycle that I have been putting myself into, and this just relationship with money has just never been something that I was talked about.
I actually feel so nervous about sharing this, but I know I have to. The message is loud. So yeah, as the title says, I am currently, and have been for around a year now, literally the worst financial position that I've ever been in. And I've been thinking today, like, what really set it off? I work for myself, and I was doing so well. I was getting higher and higher, and then it was just like all of a sudden, I've just got goosebumps. All of a sudden, it just went to shit, shall we say. But it was started more internal. And what I think it's from is last year, I was really diving into like childhood stuff and therapy and like really trying to, move through things. I had like really shitty, bad, repressed, whatever memories come up. And I didn't have the emotional support. I've realised I really didn't have the emotional support to help me move through that. And it was like deep stuff, dark stuff. And I feel like still to this day, I'm still trying to like, what do I do? I'm a single mum. So again.
So in this video, we're going to be looking at epic financial fails. People who have made financial mistakes. Some of them in their 20s, some of them in their 30s, some of them mistakes they currently just made, all right? And we know that a lot of people struggle with their finances. Now, this is majorly because some people are not really educated about finance, or some people are just ignorant. But in this video, we're going to be looking at a whole lot of videos on people who've made financial mistakes.
I am sharing this with full transparency to show you that I am human and it is normal to make mistakes and there will be setbacks in a debt payoff journey, but I used my credit card after I paid it off and I'm ashamed and I feel dumb and I didn't even really want to share this, but that would feel not right, so here I am sharing it. This is my Chase card. I had it paid down to $0 and now it is at $1,700 again. Love that for me. And it's obviously completely my fault, and I know that, so don't be like, I know. I know. So we're going to make a payment to it today. I had $100 sitting in my TikTok shop commissions. I pulled it, and I'm going to make a payment. I am using the Kiwi app. This puts all your credit cards in one place. That way, it's just easy to manage. So I'm going to make my payment $102. Right, that brings my total down to, actually, I need to go look. Okay, it brings the total down to $1,677.17. Again, I am human, okay? Logan's paychecks were very low this month. He didn't get called for a lot of overtime. We just didn't have a lot of money, and we had Scout's birthday. Just things came up, life happened, and I'm trying to give myself grace, but I'm also trying to be super transparent. So don't be like me. Don't put money back on your credit card after you paid it off. I feel very stupid.
I wish somebody had told me this about money in my 20s. I ruined my 20s financially because of these mistakes. If you've not seen me before, my name's Harriet. I've paid off over £120,000 worth of debt and I'm debt-free, including my home. And I'm on a mission to help as many people as possible get out of debt and save money. So let's talk about this. I made so many money mistakes in my 20s and honestly, some of them still make me cringe. Mistake number 1. I thought credit cards were free money. I would spend without thinking and I'd just think to myself, yeah, I'll pay it back later. However, that later never came. Mistake number 2. I did not budget. I would get paid, I'd spend most of it in the first week and then I'll be living in my overdraft until next payday came. Mistake 3. I didn't save for emergencies. All it took was just one unexpected bill and bam, I'll be straight back in debt again. If I could go back and talk to myself, I would set up a budget from day one. I'd also build a mini emergency fund and then I'd have a fully funded emergency fund. So that's 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. And I'd also learn to manage my money properly before even considering taking on any forms of debt. And if I was going to take on debt, it would be debt that would be making me money, not just consumer debt for just things.
I never saved any money. All the way up to 40. Millions, made millions, spent millions. Highly successful millionaire who had made millions and spent millions in the age-old cycle of the poor. The age-old cycle of the poor. It doesn't matter if you make $12 million a year or you make $12,000 a year. If you spend every bit of money that you earn every single year, you both end up in the same place, the same struggle, the same chaos, on two completely different scales.
Yesterday, I learned that mold can grow in your car due to a buildup of condensation, and it tends to happen in the winter time when your car is just stuck in the garage, so moisture just builds up inside. As someone who went self-employed last year, I'm driving my car a lot less. And I recently took my car out of the garage for a drive when I noticed a smell. I looked toward the right on the passenger seat and I saw mold growing on the seat. I was so disgusted, and yesterday I finally took it to get detailed and get the mold removed. And y'all, guess how much it cost me? $411. This is a reminder to take care of your things. I should have drove my car more often. That way it doesn't ruin the car engine and it would have been less likely to grow mold.
My biggest business mistake cost me everything I had and then some, where I had to go to my dad and borrow money, but I'm glad it happened. It was when I was 18, 19 years old. I was trading stocks and the stock market was doing so great, and I started buying and selling and buying and selling, and I thought I was a genius. In fact, I turned $10,000 into $50,000, and it was way more than that because I was buying stocks on margin. But my equity was over $50,000. I was so smart that I told my dad, how come he's not richer because getting rich is so easy? I was so smart, I literally went to the Porsche dealership and was looking at buying myself a 911. And I was so smart, I got completely wiped out, lost every single penny I had, minus $3,000 that I didn't have that I needed to borrow to pay the broker dealer to cover my loss. But it was the greatest lesson ever happened to me. Luckily, it happened when I was very young and I didn't have a lot of responsibilities. But one, it really humbled me that getting rich is not going to be that easy. And two, it taught me a lesson. No matter what happens, if you keep chugging forward, you can recover. I could have rolled up and died and thought that capitalism sucks and don't get involved and don't do it. Or I could have said, that was a great lesson. Don't think it's going to be that easy. Just keep working harder. And that's what I did. So I lost a lot of money. It didn't work out, but it taught me a lesson that was way more valuable than the money I lost. So sometimes your biggest setbacks are your biggest life lessons.
Here are my two biggest financial regrets as a 25-year-old living in Chicago. Number one, moving to Chicago. Nah, I'm just kidding. So my first biggest regret is spending too much on rent. I recently signed a lease for a $2,500 a month apartment, but it's never just $2,500 a month. You have to factor in utilities, application, admin fees, and move-out costs. All in all, this is going to be around $2,700 a month over a 14-month period. I feel like I would have been better, spending somewhere around $2,000 a month and saving that money and investing into the stock market, which is going to lead right into my next biggest financial regret, which is not investing early enough. I started investing consistently around 23 years old, and I really just started getting into it over the last few months. I invested a little bit when I was 19 or 20 years old. I invested like $3,000 into a Robinhood account. I checked it a few weeks ago and it had doubled. It was like $6,000. A big part of that is because I got lucky and I put a lot into Nvidia, but I believe this just showed me how powerful investing really is and how much this can compound. Don't get me wrong, it was like a 5 or 6 year period, but still, this is a long game. It's not a short game. Big reason why I want to invest earlier is because I want financial freedom. For 4th of July, of course, we had some time off from our jobs and I had 9 days off to just do whatever I wanted, and I was so much happier. Let's be honest, jobs are jobs. We don't want to do them. We want to live free.
Arguably one of the worst financial decisions I have made in my 20s is getting an Amex card. If you don't know what that is, it's a charge card, meaning you have to pay the full balance at the end of every month, right? And so the money, because I use my Amex for everything because I'm gonna get my points, you know what I'm saying? But you don't see the actual money coming out of your actual Wells Fargo, Chase, whatever bank account. And so I'd be spending, and I'm like, I'm so good with money, right? And then the statement comes out and it says due $2,500. Or what? Who was spending all that? And then I look at what I spend. It's like Whole Foods, Sephora, blah blah blah, and I'm like those things in my mind don't come up to that because I don't see it. But at the end of every month, $2,000, $3,000 are do not get an Amex charge card. I'm serious.
It took me a whole year to realise I was making a huge financial mistake, which cost me hundreds, but I'll tell you in 30 seconds. UK consumers, that includes you, have spent almost £700 million in the last year on subscriptions they're not even using. So, go through your bank statements and make note of all the standing orders and direct debits you're paying for subscriptions each month. Now, think to yourself, is there anything on that list that you're paying for that you haven't used in the last month? If the answer is yes, then you know what to do. For me, it was the gym. I thought that paying for a more expensive gym would motivate me to go, but I was wrong, and I was just paying out hundreds of pounds over the course of the year for a subscription I wasn't even using.
Here are the 2 worst financial mistakes I ever made. And this is coming from a normal person. I'm not super financially successful, but I'm also not a disconnected rich person who's going to tell you, well, after I sold my 6th property, then I didn't quite get the return on the 7th property. No, it's nothing like that. For people that are closer to my situation, you know, you're starting to have some money that you're looking to save up or invest or whatever. These are 2 of the worst mistakes I ever made. Number 1, sports gambling. Don't do it. The only way I can tell you it's okay to sports gamble is if you have a healthy relationship with gambling, and that is that, like, you can put the occasional small amount of money on a game to, you know, just kind of have a good time with your friends or something like that. Gambling is an addiction just like any drug, just like anything else. But instead of hurting your body or your brain, it's going to kill your bank account. It is a sickness. It will get into your brain and it will destroy your financial life way faster than you realize. Like, my story with gambling was when I first started gambling on sports, I went up $7,000 within the first 4 months, right? The needle was in me. Okay. I was like, oh, I could probably never work again. I could just do this full time, blah, blah, blah. Going insane. Okay. Probably within a month or 2 of gaining that $7,000, I had lost all of it and then also down an additional $1,000. And then ever since that point, all I did was lose. I would win a little bit and then I would lose twice that amount until eventually I lost $12,000. So it's like alcohol. If you can maintain a very healthy, moderate relationship with it, then that's fine. But as soon as you understand that it's becoming a problem, as soon as you understand that it's becoming an addiction, you cannot do it. I'm telling you right now, it's designed to infect your brain. You will not win. This business wouldn't exist if you were going to win. People don't win. The companies win. The second thing is another form of gambling, the stock market. And I'm not telling people not to invest in the stock market. You should absolutely, if you're able to, put money into the stock market. But no, I know nothing. There are people that dedicate their entire lives to studying financials, studying stocks, that are still wrong all the time. If you're one of those people that is your job is to study financial reports and understand companies, then that is when, like, actual day trading makes sense. The mistake that I made is that all of my money the entire time should have been going into long-term index funds. What I did was I took a bunch of money, I put it into certain stocks. Some of them did all right, so I was like, oh, I know what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And then I put a bunch of money into other stocks and a bunch of them tanked, okay? The only stocks that have performed well consistently over time are long-term index funds. So if you're just going to dump your money in and forget about it, which is what you should do unless you are trying to day trade, which again, you shouldn't unless you're trying to make that your long-term career, which you shouldn't, okay? Dump money into ETFs, forget about it, let it rise over time. It's going to crash. It will crash. That's an inevitability. People, doomsday every year. Oh, the stock market crash is coming. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Okay. Keep investing. Keep putting money in, whether the stock market is high, whether the stock market is low. Pick index funds, dump it in, leave it, let it grow over time. The ones I recommend are the S&P, VTI, and VOO. Those are the ones that I'm most heavily invested in. So if you're like, wherever you're at in life, if you're starting to get to the point where you have some savings, you're starting to think about investing money, don't do those things. There are 2 things that I screwed up that I now have the benefit of hindsight to tell you, do not do it.
My worst financial mistake was focusing on paying off my debt in my 20s, because it cost me over 9 years of compounding. At 24, I started aggressively paying off my debt. And I absolutely refused to invest until I had 0 debt. It took me until 33 to become debt-free, so 9 years later. But that means I missed out on nearly a decade of market growth. If I could do it again, I'll definitely do things differently. I'll pay down debt, but invest at the same time. Before I do any kind of investments though, I would focus on paying off high interest debt like credit card debt, because that's about 20 to 25% interest. You're losing money if you don't pay it off. For low interest debt, I would try to pay that off, but also invest at the same time. Hopefully someone out there can learn from my mistake and build wealth sooner than I did.
Girls, I'm begging you to think twice before getting a car on finance or leasing one. There are so many hidden costs that you just don't even know about in the small print, and it's probably the last thing that you're thinking about when you are getting your brand new spanking car. You probably just want to sign everything, hand over the money, and drive away. But there are so many hidden costs, and a lot of the contracts are for only 4 years, and after the 4 years you have to give the car back, and the condition that they expect the car to be back in, yeah, it's going to cost you money. So I'm sitting with this Tesla now that I need to give back in a month's time, and it's going to cost me about £1,000 to be compliant with their checklist. And that's £1,000 that I didn't really realise or look at until the last 2 months when they contacted me to try and get me to re-sign another contract to take out another Tesla for another 4 years. And to be honest, I'm never ever going to be getting a finance car ever again. I would rather have a push bike. I'm never ever ever doing it again. I've done it so many times, and I can't tell you how much more free I'm going to feel without having a car on finance anymore. I just don't even care. I think I'm over it completely. Like, yeah, I fell into the trap. You know, I can drive this flashy car, but what? Like, I'm paying so much money for this car, I might as well live in it.
One of the worst pieces of financial advice I'd ever been given, and ultimately contributed to my overconsumption problem, occurred in my 20s when I transitioned into tech. And at that time, tech was bananas. You had a bunch of 20-something-year-olds, multimillionaires whose prefrontal cortexes were not developed. It was legit like Wolf of Wall Street. So bottle service, private jets, the whole nine. And there was somebody at the company that I really looked up to because he was only a couple years older than me. And I wanted to sit down and talk to him about, you know, what are you investing in? Like, what are some of the strategies that you have? Because he lived in a penthouse apartment. He had multiple luxury cars. And I thought, you know, like, how do we get there? I had just started making $100,000, which I thought was pretty good at, I think, 26-ish years old as a first gen to go to college and somebody who grew up low income. And this is like 10 years ago, so adjusted for inflation. And this person practically gagged at like how cute my question was. He said, I don't save anything. I don't have anything saved. I don't invest anything or have retirement because if I wanted something, I just need to make more money. And I said, what do you do when you're like, you know, 80 years old or whatever? He's like, no, I'm going to make so much money that I don't need a retirement plan. And the other piece of advice he gave me was to dress for the role that you want, not the role you have. But he didn't mean like, wear nice clothes, which I agree with, dressing for the role you want. He meant I needed a different pair of Louboutins for every single day. So down the rabbit hole I went, and that's what started my overconsumption. If I think about all the clothes that I bought and all the stupid shit that I bought, and I would have invested that instead, things would be very different. And so that's why I always share the lesson of, are you actually going to be rich? Or are you going to play rich?
So I believe that one of the things that can bring an end to these huge financial mistakes that a lot of people make, and for some people it's not intentional, for some people that's the best they know. All right, so I believe that the best thing to do, or the best way to curb these financial mistakes that a whole lot of people make, and I myself included, all right, is to actually get financial education. All right, is to actually learn about money. A lot of people don't know about money. I've seen videos of influencers who have made tons of money, and then they come to realize that they are back to being broke, or they are owing government tax. Some people don't even know they're supposed to pay taxes, as crazy as it sounds. All right, the best thing is to actually, the best solution for this is education, financial education. All right, everywhere that you find yourself, everywhere that you get the opportunity to learn about how money is made, how money is kept, right? A lot of people know how to make money, but not really how to keep it, all right? How to invest, all right? What you're supposed to do when huge sums of money come into your hand, all right? This is why financial education is very, very important, all right? And you should not just leave it to schools, because I don't think the school system is doing a good job at it, all right? So what I believe that you can get, there are financial advisors everywhere, all right? You can get one, all right? There are videos on YouTube about finance. There are podcasts about money that you should follow. There are books about money, all right? Psychology of Money, Millionaire Fast Lane. These are just two All right, compound effect. Compound effect is not necessarily about money, but there are strategies there that can help you build, all right, in life, that can help you learn more about how to effect change in your life. All right, how to learn and how to improve your life. These are just education about general, especially in the area of finances, right? What you have to learn about. You just have to make, if you have to pay for courses to learn, if you have to watch videos, if you have to pay financial advice. So all these things are things, because on the long run you come to realize that it's actually more expensive to not know. All right, so I believe what can curb this or cure this unnecessary financial mistakes, and a lot of people, I make financial mistakes too, a lot of people also make financial mistakes. One of the things that can help cure this or curb this is to actually, for us to invest in education. Thank you for sticking around to this video, all right, to this point. And if you found value in this video, please leave a like, subscribe. See you in the next video. Love you guys.